about being in the midst of a battle. Anybody been in a battle before? Might be in one right now. What it feels like to be in the midst of a battle. What's the purpose of battle? How to get through it? Why to get through it? Just kind of talk around some things like that. And so my title this morning, if you want to write it down, is Treasure in the Battle. The treasure in the battle. We all have a battle. We'll probably all go through one if we're not in one right now, or if we haven't just came through one. There could be one coming. And there's treasure in the middle of that. And so I want to talk about how to find that. God told the Israelites that I tested you. That's battle. I tested you. I put restraints and pressure upon you. I tested you. Maybe I even backed away from you a little bit where it felt like the heavens were brass. Never been there before? I tested you. Why? To show you what was in your heart. I want you to see what's in your heart. That's the purpose of the test. So that you'll find out what's in your heart. Listen, the battle is to circumcise the selfish agenda off your life. It's to circumcise you from selfish motive. That's what the battle's all about. And so if you let the battle do its work, it will circumcise the selfish motives from you. And listen, the selfless you is the best you there is. And so we want that. We want to be a wide open vessel for God to do whatever He wants to through us. Amen. And so, what if the secret of walking in the full potential of God came out of a battle? Think about that for a second. What if your ability, your potential to walk in the fullness of God on this earth came through a battle? We might look at those a little different, huh? That battle is what put me into the fullness of God on this planet. I'd take that battle. I'd say, bring it on. Because I want to walk in the fullness of God. I want to walk in what He's called me to do and to be on the earth. And so it's usually in that place, in that battle moment, in the moment of pressure, that you find out what's really in you. How many of you experienced that before? I remember years ago I woke up, actually Jamie woke me up at 5 in the morning because she had to go to work at that time. And she wanted to shower and there was no water. We lived in an awesome pink single-wide trailer. She was the queen of my single-wide. There was either a mouse running somewhere or no water. It was awesome. That morning there was no water. And so I mosey my way outside and it's still dark and I'm rubbing my eyes and I pull the well cover off. And I looked, I just got ready to go down in there. There was a ladder and I turned around like this and for some reason I just stopped and looked. And there's water full in my well house, and my pump is floating. That could have been some hot water if I'd have got in there. The thing's floating on top of the deal, and I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. It's 5 in the morning. So I start sumping that thing out of there, or pumping it out of there. And anyway, long story short, I get down in the bottom, and nothing's going right. I keep messing with this thing, and nothing's going right. And I get so frustrated. The pressure's on, and I'm trying to fix it. It's not working. I felt like the Lord told me to do something, so I did it. Press go, and it was like, ah! I come running out of that thing with a pipe wrench, and I throw it across the pasture, and all of a sudden it was like, what am I doing? And the light just shined on me, and I noticed something was coming out of me that I didn't know was in there. I'm a pastor. Thank God I'm out in the middle of nowhere. I don't know, it's a little more embarrassing when God's watching. No. And it was just like this illumination came on where it was like God's going, I'm watching. And I realized there was this dross that rose up due to the pressure that was revealed to me, where it was like, it was laid out, here you go, Jay, you see what you're doing? And man, I just felt like an idiot. And the pressure had to happen to show me what was in there. And you know what? That thing that came up isn't there anymore. It's gone. And it won't come up. It's gone. Because I dealt with it at that moment. But the pressure had to happen for me to see that. And so if someone told me this, be glad God works on you while you're small, so it doesn't embarrass you in front of people. I don't think they meant size small. I think they meant your ability to reach men. Some of those moments like that you don't understand, it's God working on you. It's God wanting to show you something in you before it embarrasses you in front of somebody that really needs to see who God is. So there's nothing more precious than allowing our character to be revealed like our words are. You know, many people make God's purpose so small they won't go through anything to get it. It's kind of like a sideboard on a pickup. It's an accessory in my life that maybe I'll use, maybe I won't. And really God's full purpose for my life, it's just kind of back there, we might get to it someday. And so it's so menial that I'm not going to go through anything to get it. And we can't be those people. God's purpose has to be the most important thing in my life, where I'll go through anything to get to it. I'll face anything. I'll stand in the midst of whatever it is, as long as that purpose of God comes into my life and I can live in it. That's how we need to look at it. And so my encouragement to you is make sure you hold that in highest regard, highest esteem in your life. I would go as far as to say the definition of life is to walk in that purpose. The whole meaning of why you're here, sucking air today, is to walk in the purpose of God. What are you going to do to get it? How long will you stand? What will you go through to see it activated in your life? Allow me to submit to you that it's in the battle that the pressure allows you to grow to become a true, effective follower of Jesus Christ. I believe the real, effective followers of Jesus Christ are those that have came through the battle in a godly way. Like my pastor always said, a man of God walks with a limp. Because you've been through the battle. You've wrestled with God. For what are you saying, Lord? What are you doing in this? And it causes a limp, but a good limp. Your light will always shine brighter if you have character to back up your words. You've got to have character. There's nothing more embarrassing than being given an office or a position and your character can't uphold it. And you know what? God doesn't want that for anybody. He doesn't want that for anybody. He wants to work on you with some serious pressure and then put you in a place where you won't be embarrassed because you've been worked on. He wanted me out in the middle of nowhere throwing a pipe wrench where only the dog's watching to deal with something in me so that it wouldn't embarrass me someday in front of people. And he's still doing that stuff. And it continues to get more precise in the way that we live because he loves us that much. Deuteronomy chapter 8, if you got a Bible with you, I'm going to read verses 1 through 3 out of Deuteronomy today. He says this, "Be careful to follow every command I'm giving you today, so that you may live and increase." Notice that. Live and increase is from following and obeying the commands of today. That you might enter and possess the land promised on oath to your ancestors. Remember how the Lord your God led you all the way in the wilderness these 40 years, to humble you and test you, in order to know what was in your heart, whether or not you would keep his commands. He humbled you, causing you to hunger, and then feeding you with manna, which neither you nor your ancestors had known before, to teach you that man does not live on bread alone, but on every word that comes out of the mouth of the Lord. Interesting scripture. There's a promised land involved. That land of promise. There's testing involved. To humble you. To see, will you obey my command or not? Will you squirm out of this thing to just do what you want to do, or will you stay in it and obey my command? To be humbled. To see what's in your heart and either break to God, or you're going to stand up and deny him. But the whole purpose of this testing, for 40 years in the wilderness, God had to test them. He made them hungry and then he fed them. And the whole purpose of this battle, the whole purpose of this journey, the whole purpose of this testing ground that's never comfortable is this, that you would learn to not just live on bread, but on my voice. Right. Yes. I don't want you to just learn to live on the world system. I don't want you to learn how to just live by what you can make happen or by what you can do. I want you to learn to live by my voice. That's the purpose of the battle. How many of you have ever been in a situation where you couldn't fix it? It's just like, it doesn't matter what I do, it doesn't matter what I say, it doesn't matter where I go, it doesn't matter who I know, I can't fix this thing. What do you need? His voice. Yeah. I put you in this position so you learn to live from my voice rather than your power, your ability, what you can do. You got to live by my voice. That was the purpose of the battle. I think that is so cool. Any of you who have fasted in here for a long amount of time knows what it means to live on not just bread. You get to a place where you're living on something other than bread. It's on the sustenance of God, that living power. It's a pretty cool deal. Notice the point of every battle is to learn to live on the voice of God, not just bread, earthly things, what I can make happen. I would go as far as to say the definition of victory is this: the ability to hear his voice. You want victory in your life? Hear that whisper. Lay a hold of that voice. Stand your ground until he speaks. You know, what Satan wants to do is pounce on you in the moment of pressure to turn you into a victim. When you're coming into that midnight hour where the pressure's on and you feel like, I can't even take one more minute of this because I don't understand it, and the pressure's on, you got God getting ready to whisper, and you got Satan there wanting to make you a victim. You ever met someone who's been a victim of a battle? That's all they've got. That's all they can talk about. It follows them everywhere they go, and they're a victim of the battle rather than a victor from the battle.
Right.
We have to understand this, that in the midst of every battle, all pressure, Satan's there to make you a victim, and God's there to make you a victor. Which are you going to choose? We cannot become victims because of the things we've gone through. We have to come out victors. Especially as Christians in the church, especially as believers, we can't have a victim mindset where we've been defeated. The jewel in the battle is his voice. It's his voice of direction and his voice of wisdom. And I'm asking you this morning, are you willing to stand there to hear it? Are you willing to stand your ground until he whispers? Because it's in that very moment what makes you strong. It's in that very moment what makes you solid, what makes you something that can produce life for those around you. It's in that standing ground where when I don't know what else to do, I just stand firm. I'll be here till you speak, God. That's kind of a lost characteristic in this generation. I think we got some rising up that are ready to do it. We've got some warriors coming on the scene that they almost just kind of scare you. Man, you crazy with God. Right? Some people that are saying, I want this thing. I tell my church, if God don't show up, it ain't even worth us coming here. You might as well go home and watch football. But he shows up. He shows up because we want him. We want him. He's so faithful to that. His voice will always set you up for victory. Jesus had a 100% success rate. You know why? Because he always moved off his voice. God spoke, he moved. When God speaks, things happen. His voice sets you up for victory. If you're in the bottom of the pit, if you're at the bottom of the valley, when he speaks, you just found a platform for victory. But if you sit down in the bottom of that valley and you whine around like chickens in the barnyard, you're not ever going to find that platform. You've got to get that voice to whisper so that you can get that platform of victory to stand on. It's crucial that we find that voice. It's crucial that we hear his whisper. And so my encouragement to you is don't let yourself be overcome by complaining and murmuring, because that will mute his voice. Murmuring and complaining fogs the voice of God. Don't let yourself fall to it. You know, something cool about the eagles is when the storm comes, they just lock their wings back and they go up on the storm. And they let the storm take them higher. All the chickens, they duck into the barnyard. And it's kind of like, I don't understand why this has to happen. Why me? I don't want to get... Right? They get to mocking. We don't do that. It's like people out there. All the hunters today out there. I'm just kidding. The chickens in the barnyard, they just balk around and complain. But the eagle doesn't. The eagle sees the storm and says, oh yeah, we got an opportunity here. Locks his wings back and actually uses the storm to get higher in the situation. He just coasts around on top of that thing. Yeah. I don't know which one you want to be. I want to be the eagle. Yeah. I don't get to see that height view very often, so I want to be up there. Looking down at what's going on. Murmuring and complaining will keep you in the barnyard. Murmuring and complaining keeps you in the barnyard. God's voice will always lift you up to see the situation from his perspective. We've got to get his voice. Yeah. Joshua chapter 4, verses 4 through 7. I just want to read through this a little bit. If you got your Bibles with you, take a look at it with me. Joshua chapter 4, verses 4 through 7. It says this. Then Joshua called the 12 men. It's cool that 12 is the number of foundation. Isn't that cool? Boom, foundation. Called 12 men whom he had appointed from the children of Israel, one man from every tribe. And Joshua said to them, cross over before the ark of the Lord your God into the midst of the Jordan. And each one of you take up a stone on his shoulder, according to the number of the tribes of the children of Israel, that this may be a sign among you. When your children ask in time to come, saying, what do these stones mean to you? Then you shall answer them that the waters of the Jordan were cut off before the ark of the covenant of the Lord. When it crossed over the Jordan, the waters of the Jordan were cut off. And these stones shall be a memorial for the children of Israel forever. Now think about this situation. The Jordan River was intense. I mean, this river was serious, and it was at flood level. And the priests are carrying God's presence. And that'd be scary. We're carrying the presence of God, and God tells them, I want you to cross the Jordan with my presence. And so they're standing on the edge of the river going, we're going to cross this thing. I mean, I don't know how far down that bank goes. And we like to say, oh, we'll go, God. Oh, I'll go. Take me, I'll go. Open every door, close every other one. We'll step whenever you do that, Lord. Dry it up and I'll go, Lord. Isn't that funny how we do that? Dry it up and we'll go. I'm obedient. That's not how it works. If they wanted to see that miracle, what do they have to do? Step. That's faith. You ever heard of the step of faith? They had to step. Imagine how freaky that would be. Someone said faith is on the razor's edge of disaster, is what it looks like to walk in faith. Because here I got God's presence on my shoulders, and this thing's flowing like crazy, and you just kind of got to go. And you hope your other guy goes with you, right? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. It's a step of faith. And they step into this thing, and as they step, God dries it up. They stepped on dry ground, not mud. Dry ground. That in itself is a miracle. And this huge miracle happens, which started with a test. Right. Started with a battle. Am I going to do it? Am I going to do it? This is just chaos. This doesn't make any sense. This is ridiculous. Who comes up with this kind of stuff? Right? It's a test. And they get through this amazing battle and this crazy test, and it all works out, and it's all good, but God doesn't stop there. He says, here's what I want you to do. I want you to go back into that place, and I want you to grab a stone, bring it out, and make a memorial so that when your kids say, what's that memorial all about? You can say, God showed up. God did something awesome. Now here's the thing. Every one of us will have tests. Every one of us will have battles we go through. And my question to you today is, what stone are you grabbing? What stone are you going to pick out of that thing? Because you can pick whatever stone you want. It's your choice. He didn't tell them what stone to pick. He said, go in, grab a stone. Whatever stone you want to pick out of this experience and bring it out as a memorial. And not only did they get to grab a stone, they had to bear the stone on their shoulder. Yep. Whatever stone you're going to pick, you're going to bear the weight of that on your shoulder as it becomes a memorial. And let me just say this to you. The stone of bitterness is a lot heavier than the stone of thanksgiving. Right. What's that memorial going to look like? Whatever battle you've gone through, or whatever battle you're going through, you're going to bring a stone out of that battle. And you're going to bear it on your shoulders. We can see it on you. Either you came out in victory with thanksgiving, or you came out defeated, and you're carrying that stone. It's a memorial. And I'm saying today, pick a stone that you want to your kids to see. Pick a stone that you can say, man, let me tell you what this stone's all about. And don't let it be a victim stone. Don't let it be a forever scar that people have to tiptoe around and they're scared to get near you for. Your kids are always going to stand a distance from. No, make sure that stone is a stone of thanksgiving, because you'll bear that on your shoulders. Right. And they set it up as a memorial. This will be a sign among you. A sign among you. What do these stones mean? So my encouragement to you today is grab a stone that's going to be a memorial. It will glorify the Lord.